been off for a little while, so I can't even remember the name of my own company today. I am glad to be back, though. It's been a couple months since before Christmas since I've seen everyone. As you know, I was in Kenya for 3 weeks, and what you don't know is I had a little knee surgery after that, so that kept me laid up for a bit. And but I'm back today and have a great guest that we'll be talking with in just a second here. I do want to remind you, if you're not already getting my weekly updates, you can go to the website, and I will put the scroller up on the bottom here. I'm a little out of practice and have failed to do that, but I'll put that up as we go along, and you can go there and sign up if you'd like, and love to get you some updates every week. So with that said, I am very excited to have Ian Swain with me today from Swain Destinations, and we are going to talk about Australia, which is one of my favorite places in the world and where he is from originally. So let's get Ian on. There he is. Hi, Ian.
G'day, Robin. How are you?
Very good, very good. So yeah, sorry, I'm playing with my computer because I had a little backdrop fail here that we knew about before we came on, but what I failed to account for was that when I was on the screen alone, that the big hole was going to show. So sorry, everybody, about that. But at least we've got a little bit of Australia here behind me.
Yeah.
That
as long as you can see my homeland, that's the main thing.
Exactly. So, and when you said g'day, so that made me think of something else. I think I heard maybe on one of your podcasts that you said something about you had never used the term before you came to the United States or something along those lines. Is that true?
Yeah. Well, when I was living in Australia, most of us don't really say g'day. And it's one of those things that when you come overseas, everyone expects you to say g'day. And that was made famous, of course, by Paul Hogan, well, amongst others, but mainly Paul Hogan. And everyone expects you to carry a knife and wear a cap with crocodile teeth in it and say g'day. So it's one of those things you get used to.
Yeah. Well, I guess as long as they don't expect you to eat at the Outback Steakhouse, you're probably okay.
I went there once and I saw, this is not Australian food.
Right. Exactly. That's funny. So we, before we get going here, tell us a little bit about yourself. We obviously know where you're from, but tell us a little more specifically in Australia where you're from, how you came to be in America, where you live now in the United States, and how Swain Destinations came to be.
Okay, well, I was born in Brisbane, which is in Queensland on the east coast of Australia, halfway up the east coast. And at 3, my family moved because of work down to Sydney. And we spent 10 years in Sydney where I did most of my formative education. Then we left and went to the Gold Coast, which is back in Queensland again, which we used to go to for holidays. It's a holiday destination. And we used to go there every holiday for a number of years. And it's like living on the East Coast, you go to the Jersey Shore or something like that. We'd go to the Gold Coast.
Exactly. Yes.
So we'd go there, and then my dad wanted to live up there, so he made the decision. And of course, we had no say in it, but it was a great place to be brought up. We lived on a river and went out boating in the afternoons and played golf and just went water skiing, and it was wonderful. So after a while, I started my first business, which was insurance broking, and then had that running for 7 or 8 years. And during that time, I'd come to America on a holiday and met this girl from Philadelphia, Linda, in New York. I won't tell you the whole story about that, but it was interesting. And we came back to Australia together. I came back to Australia, and she came 2 weeks later. A few weeks after that, we got engaged, and then 3 months after that, we got married. So now,
so you didn't waste any time. You decided that's what you wanted, and you just were going to make that happen.
Well, see, when I took her back to Australia, now she's a great-looking girl, and I didn't want anyone else to jump in on me, so I thought I better sort of seal the deal, so to speak. So so when we got married down there, and then we spent the next 2 years together down there. And during that time, our first child came along, or she became pregnant with our first child. She wanted to live closer to her parents once our daughter was born. And so we sold the business and moved over to America. Now, during those 2 years we lived together in Australia, we would come back and forward for holidays to see her parents and friends, etc. And every time I'd come back, they'd say, meet people, I love your accent, where are you from? They'd say Australia. And I said, what? And they said, well, I'd love to go there. And I said, why don't you go there? And they said they didn't know how to. So I thought there's an opportunity for an Australian knowing Australia and an American knowing American, what they like and dislike, to start a company of advising Americans how to visit my homeland. And as simple as that, that's what started it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And here you are. How many years later still doing it?
34 years. We just had
That's
our
great.
34th birthday, the start of this, or the end of last month. And we're
wow.
still in the suburbs of Philadelphia. We've been in the same office for 31 years.
Wow.
And we've got some of the people who work with me and our team have been with me almost 31 years of that time. So it's a second family for me, and it's really an incredible group of people that are working with us, and we've just gone through this pandemic now, and hopefully the light's on the other side of the tunnel.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's nice for people like me that work with people like you to know that you've been in business as long as you have, and you know that you're there and you're not going anywhere, and you're a pro at what you do, and know the destinations not only as a native but through sending a lot of clients there. So it's great.
Well, I usually go back to Australia about 4 or 5 or 6 times a year. Of course, in the last 12 months, I haven't been. And actually, I started to feel homesick for the first time last month. I heard a couple of Australian songs, and it made me think I need to get home. Plus, we had a little granddaughter was born in April last year, which we haven't had a chance to see except for via Zoom. So
gosh, that's
waiting to
gonna
go
be
home.
hard. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Gosh, I mean, last time I was there was 2018, and I'm missing it, so I can't imagine how hard it is for you. But anyway, well, let's jump in there to telling everybody about these spots that we've picked today, and just to let everyone know too that what we have picked are some places that are lesser and maybe little known of pieces of heaven over there, I think. So I'm gonna show this map up here real quick, and I'm going to hide both of us for a minute. And so Ian, where we're going to start is, as people are seeing this map on the west coast, or there, the northwest part of Australia, and then we're going to move over to the east to the 2 dots on the upper right, and then we're going to end up back down near Sydney. So just to give everybody a little bit of a visual on how that is
it was very difficult to choose 4 spots too, Robin. I might say there's hundreds of little gems in Australia that we can show you. So, but this is a start.
Well, in the we've got opportunity. We can do this again sometime. We can pick some other destinations. So that's no problem. And I do want to tell those that are watching, please ask questions, type them in, and I will ask as we go along. So, all right. So let's get started with our first stop. And that is
in the Kimberleys.
Kimberley, exactly. So we're going to show that. I am going to make myself disappear. And all right, give me just 1 second. And I'm going to go to a different picture on that as well, because that's not the one we want to start with. There we go. Go back to the beginning. All right. And one more shift and we're good to go.
You still got the boat here.
Yeah, I went back one too many. All right. Okay, there we go. Now we are. Okay, so tell us about Kimberley and these pictures.
Okay, well, the Kimberley is one of the oldest areas. Well, it's Australia's an old continent, as everyone knows, and this is one of the least explored areas in the continent and very hard to get to. And one of the best ways to get to the Kimberleys is by an expedition ship. And there's, you can see the MV True North. It's a 164-foot expedition ship, has 18 cabins, a good amount of crew to help you look after it and have an incredible experience. And it just goes to some of the most remote places in Australia. This one is called Twin Falls for obvious reasons. But what they do is they take the vessel and just above the helicopter, that big falls, they drive the front of the vessel right in under the fall, so you actually have a shower when you're on board the boat. But it's incredible to get there, and the helicopter is one of the toys that the boat has readily for it, so that you can actually leave the coast and go inland a bit and see some incredible cave paintings, incredible little towns, and just really learn the way the Australians lived so many years ago, and it hasn't really changed.
Okay, I'll go on to the next one, which is another helicopter trip, and I'm gonna interject just for a second here. Having just been on my most recent travels, done a helicopter trip, it is really a fabulous way to see things.
Oh, it's the best way to see things, and particularly up in the Kimberleys here, because it gives you access to places that you just physically can't get to. And here's a classic area here. You can't really get to this place by foot or there's no roads, so it has to be by helicopter. And they land the chopper up there on the top of the bank. You climb down, and actually that's Linda in the forefront of the photo.
Oh, nice.
In the having a bit of a swim, and you can just see these pools. You don't go too close to the end because there's a bit of a nasty fall there. But this is one of the days where they took a barbecue, and they took everyone from the ship to the land, and they cooked a barbecue on the top near the helicopter there, and everyone just had an incredible experience. And they took us on hikes. They have ranger guides who know the whole area and know the authenticity of the cave paintings that are going for tens of thousands of years from the indigenous people, the Aboriginal people of Australia. So it's a really great, it's a cultural experience, it's a scenic experience, it's a physical experience. And while you're on board the boat, you have 3 activities a day, and one activity is fishing, which a lot of the locals love the fishing because you've got the barramundi fishing up there as well. And they go out fishing in these little tenders that come in from the true north. And then you've got a sightseeing day, which you can just go sightseeing and go and see different islands and different areas. And then you've got the cultural side of it, where you'll learn about the culture of the area and the flora and fauna, and have a naturalist guide who's going to tell you all about those areas and what the significance is of all that. And all this, at the end of the day, you come back on board and you have a beer or a wine or a soda or something, and just have a great time. That's the shot, the helicopter taking off, and you can see the waterfall there where Linda was just swimming.
Yeah.
It's from a bit too far. It's a bit of a dive down there. But on the next one, you don't want to do that.
No,
but I mean, you can see how remote it is.
Sorry.
That's right. This one, you can see how remote that is up there.
Yes.
There's no highway signs. There's no roads. And it's a long walk to get in there. So it's the only way is by helicopter. And the thing about True North, and Craig Howson is the owner of True North, and he's been doing this for in fact, almost as long as I've had my company going. And he's done these trips so often up in the Kimberleys that they know every little fantastic spot to go to, and what people are going to like. And it also does trips up to New Guinea. It does trips out of Cairns, the northern part of Australia, where we're going to go to next. And it even has a cruise over New Year's Eve in Sydney, so you can watch the fireworks from Sydney Harbour on board the boat. But the next photo you've got there, Robin, is that's called Swain Island. The thing about it is, up in the Kimberleys, there's so many unnamed and uncharted islands because they're very small and no one ever named them. They're just there. So the rules are, whoever you are, the first one onto the island to get their feet onto the sand can name the island. So this particular one we named Swain Island because we were supposedly the first people to find it.
I love it. That's great. Okay, well, let's go on now to, we're going to switch and, all right, let me go back to the other slides there. Sorry, I had left off and I'm wrong. There we go. Okay, so you were just saying we were switching coasts here.
Yeah, it's now we're into the Daintree rainforest, and I'll talk a bit about the Daintree a little bit later. But this lodge here, which you can see this shot of the treehouse here, is Silky Oaks Lodge, and Silky Oaks has been around for many years, and it's just going through a total refurbishment right now. They've taken advantage of the pandemic being closed because of the pandemic, and they've now redone the lodge. Good friends of mine, James and Haley Bailey, who started Southern Ocean Lodge, and they run Longitude 131, and they own Capella Lodge on Lord Howe Island. have taken over the Silky Oaks Lodge, and they're what I call Baileyizing it, and they're making it actually so good. I mean, these are the epitome of having how to make a luxury accommodation house or a luxury experience exist. So I'm looking forward to seeing it when it reopens again later this year. So because it's just going to be phenomenal what it's going to be like. But it just is, as you can see the rainforest there. You're high up in the canopy, and you go to sleep in the houses, in tree houses, which are obviously got walls. This is an eating part area, but the tree houses itself has walls. I think the next photo shows it off pretty well. You can see
right there. Yeah.
On the Daintree River, and then you've got the tree houses. You can see them just peering into the rainforest there, and it's just a magical experience. You wake up listening to the birds and the stuff in the forest, and it's just the creek running down in front of you. It's just an awesome experience to have and be there.
It looks fabulous. And speaking of the creek, there it is.
Yeah, there it is there, and it's very clear, obviously, as you can see. It's very crystal clear, and whilst it's a little cool, it's a great way to go swimming. During the winter time, it's a bit too cool to go swimming unless you're really an iceberg. But during the summer and the spring and the fall, you're down there all day, and they've got little kayaks in there as well that you can go paddling through as well. But it's just a really nice settling place. They can set up little picnics on the banks for you. Take your favorite bottle of wine or your favorite drink down there and get some cheese and crackers, and just have an incredible experience when you're down there.
It sounds wonderful. And you said it's closed. So is it closed because of travel right now, or are they doing some renovations, or what's going on?
No, it's closed because they're renovating it. James and Haley took it over in April or May of last year. They bought it. They bought it from the previous owners.
Okay.
And they closed it to do the renovation. It just happens that they couldn't be open for a while anyway, because of COVID. But now that they've now got it renovated up there, and it's going to be opening soon. I'm not sure the exact dates. It's around probably September, I think it is. Everything slowed down in Australia because of COVID, including all the workers to do the renovation work. And this again is quite remote, although it's only 15 minutes away from Port Douglas. You actually get there by flying into Cairns and then driving an hour and a quarter up from Cairns Airport to Silky Oaks. But you have access to the Great Barrier Reef. You have access to the Daintree National Park, the rainforest area. And then, the Daintree is the oldest living rainforest in the world. It's 180 million years old. Wow. It's tens of millions of years older than the Amazon rainforest. So, and if you get the right guide, and we've got a guy called Bill, believe it or not, and as I keep on saying, Bill is the real deal, and he takes our guests out and shows them parts of the rainforest that most people don't get to see. And when I was up there with one of my daughters and her son, my grandson, we left in the morning at 8 o'clock and came back at 3:30 in the afternoon, and we didn't see another soul the whole time. Wow. But we saw all the experiences, went for a swim, and we learned about the trees, the flora, the whole concept of the rainforest. So it's an incredible experience, and you can do that from Silky Oaks Lodge, and you can also go to the Barrier Reef.
Well, and speaking of the Barrier Reef, so we're getting a little, well, not really closer. Maybe we're a little. Well, you'll have to tell me on that, because the only time I've been to the Barrier Reef, it was when we were staying at Hamilton Island. So. Right. Anyway, but this is further north from Hamilton Island, and where we just were. So tell us where we are now.
Okay, this is Lizard Island, which is just north of Cairns. It's an hour's flight. You can see the runway in the background of that slide there, where you fly into it. Where you are in Hamilton Island is on what they call the Inner Reef. The Great Barrier Reef runs 1,300 miles down the east coast of Australia. It's the largest living thing that you can see from space. It's the largest reef in the world. And then where you were in Hamilton Island, you would have taken a boat to the Great Barrier Reef. Yes. Here on Lizard Island, it's one of two resorts in Australia on the Great Barrier Reef that are actually on the Great Barrier Reef. And you can see the reef starting right in the front of this photo, the dark areas on the beach. Yep. So you can actually, what you're looking at there is the beachfront suites right in front of you. To the right of that is the main lodge area, and to the right again, if we had a longer photo, you'd see some sunset villas up on the top of the point. But you can actually put your fins on and your snorkel and your mask and walk out of your room and into the beach, into the water, and you're actually on the Great Barrier Reef. And there's great snorkeling right there. In fact, one of my perfect day on Lizard Island, this is one of the suites. This is the new pavilion, which is their luxury suite, which is just beautiful. My perfect day on Lizard, though, is to start off before sunrise and climb up to the top of the highest point on the island, which is called Cook's Look. And it's named Cook's Look because of Captain Cook. When he came to Australia and he discovered Australia, he got shipwrecked, had to do ship repairs. So he called in here onto Lizard Island and got out and then walked up to the top so he could actually see where the reef opened up so he could take the ship, the Endeavour, out through the reef. So it's called Cook's Look. So you start walking up there. It's a walk of about an hour and a half if you're in moderate fitness. Some people do it quicker. I mean, I've spoke to some of the team that work on the island, and they sort of run up there, of course.
Yeah. So is it a walk or a hike?
I'm past that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, but you go up there and you stay up there for a little while, have a look, and you look around, and it's beautiful and it's very serene and very quiet. Then you come back down again, have breakfast in the breakfast area of the lodge, and then you take a little tin boat. This is just a shot of us arriving on the island. And one of the light aircraft. But
we'll go back to that. Sorry.
Yeah. So you come across in a light aircraft like this, and you that's Linda and three of my children and two of my daughters-in-law.
Wow.
So they're all children now, and they've got the shortest one there in the red handbag just had our little granddaughter Sailor out in California. So at least we got to see Sailor, though. We were able to get
all right. So you got one of two grandchildren seen.
We've got three grandsons as well.
Three. Wow.
We've seen them before. Yeah. You can't see enough of them, but that's how you get there. If you go to the next slide, this is a great day. How you end up the day after breakfast. You get into one of these little tin boats. They pick you up a beautiful picnic with sodas and drinks of your choice, sandwiches, chicken, salads, whatever you want to have, and then you go and find there's 16 remote beaches on Lizard Island. And the deal is that when you find one that's uninhabited, you take that and that's your beach for the day. You can't go to someone else's beach when you're there. So you have your own beach. So here we have our own beach over here. And just for the whole day, it's just incredible experience to have that and be there and just enjoying it. And then they can give you, they've got a radio as well. So in case you get shipwrecked, so to speak, I'll come and pick you up and take you back. Or if you had one too many beers,
right? You shouldn't be driving the boat. They'll come and they'll send the Uber driver.
That's right. Yeah, the Uber boat will come out and pick you up.
So, now, are people wearing the suits for Stinger? Is it Stinger season here, or what's the wetsuits? Why are we?
It was a little cooler that day, and they put them on. I mean, the Stingers. I think one of my kids there put them on because of potentially stingers. They give you suits to wear, but they were also going out snorkeling off the reef there as well. So when you're snorkeling, it's better to have something on to protect you in case you accidentally graze the coral or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think the stingers are more on the it's an estuarian stinger, and it's really around the mainland and where the rivers come we meet the ocean. Whereas Lizard Island, you're offshore, and they don't make it that far out.
Okay. You didn't know you were going to have to give a lesson on the sea life as well, did you?
No, but I mean, tell you what, though, you can, if you want to go, Lizard Island is perfect for diving because you've got places like the Cod Hole, which is only a 15-minute cruise from the itself, or you've got there's a multitude of dive sites. And what we love doing and what we did on the next day after this one, actually, we all went diving and we did a drift dive where you obviously get out of the boat with the scuba instructor, and then you go down and you drift with the current across the reef without very little work you have to do, and just drifting across, looking at the coral formations, looking at the fish, and then coming in and getting out. The boat moves down while you're doing it, and you get out of the boat.
Oh, nice.
And they give you a fresh juice and everything else. The other
Oh.
thing you can do from Lizard Island is go deep sea fishing. And every year they have a deep sea fishing tournament. They've got black and white marlin going through there. And you've got the fishing tournaments as well. So anyone who has a
I'm
diving
sorry.
interest, that's all right, diving interest or a fishing interest, that's fine.
Wow. That you mentioned the barramundi earlier, and oh my gosh, those are so delicious.
They are. It's great. Yeah, it's just beautiful. The seafood in Australia generally is just incredible.
It
And
is.
it's so
I can
fresh and
vouch
so
for
good.
that.
And now we're
For
heading down.
sure.
We're heading down west of Sydney, and I think you were living in Sydney when you were there.
I was. Yes, I didn't get quite this far west. I didn't get well, I mean, not until I got northern, I got up Hunter Valley and all that, but I didn't get this far west, close to Sydney. So
this is a 2-hour drive or a 50-minute helicopter flight from Sydney, and it's called Wolgan Valley. So the resort is called Emirates One and Only Wolgan Valley, and it's a 40-room resort built in this beautiful, pristine valley, as you can see there. And every morning or every afternoon or during the day, there's a different vista to look at from those escarpments up ahead of you and the way the cloud rolls in and settles down there. The wildlife there is great. You've got wallabies, wallaroos, and kangaroos running around. You've got, when I was there last, and I assume they're still there, there was 4 albino wallaroos, which are obviously very white wallaroos. They're very hard. They're very unique, but they live there. This is not captivity. These are just animals that come through the area, but they like it here. It's a great area for them. And with Wolgan Valley and the team there, they've been planting trees and bringing the creek. There's 2 creeks that run through it, and they're bringing the what it used to be like back to what it was, because there was some commercial things upstream which would sort of damage one of the riverbeds a little bit, and they're trying to fix all that, which they're doing. In fact, they got one of the rivers, James, who was the general manager just prior to the current one, Tim. The water was so clear that he made a gin called 1832 gin out of the water that came out of the creek. To do it, and it's really good. So, but this is one of the rooms. Every room's got its own pool, which is covered in with these sliding windows and glass inhabitants. But that's the view you've got. But you'll look out there in the morning and you'll see kangaroos and wallabies just sitting outside your booth.
Gosh, I know when I go back, I am definitely going here next time.
I have to. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world, and it's just incredible. And you do safaris in the afternoon, and not to get excited like a safari in Botswana or South Africa, but you go out and see the kangaroos and wallabies as they come out to feed at dusk time. But you've also got other places you can ride. You can ride mountain bikes. You've got horseback riding. You've got archery. We had my family there, and my family, like probably most families, are very competitive. And we had an archery contest with each other. Linda wanted me to put the apple on top of my head, but I didn't do that.
Oh, I'm not sure what to make of that, but
and this is one of the rooms that you've got, and you can see a little rocking chair out the back there, and overlooking there, and you just come in after doing whatever you've done for the day, and just enjoy it. But then they've got the main dining room, and they have incredible tasting menus for dinner, and the chefs there just go overboard with the fresh produce. And most of the produce is grown, within 15 miles or 20 miles of the lodge itself.
Oh, that's good to know. Well, the food in Australia in general, I find to be just fantastic because everything is so fresh and very locally sourced, and the chefs are amazing. So I wouldn't expect anything less there either. And that's always a nice high point to have good food for sure. So,
yes.
Is this the view from the same room or same area?
One of the rooms. It's the same. Okay. They've all got similar rooms. They all views. They all look out over the valley and the escarpment. And it's just a matter of choosing where you want to go to that day. I suggest spending at least 3 nights there. It's not inexpensive, but you get value because you've got all your food is included, your drinks are included, and most of the activities are included. And we've never had anyone visit Wolgan Valley and not come back and say how wonderful it was.
Oh, I'm sure. I am sure. And so when you all were there, you tell us about this tree. Why is this tree
Yeah,
special?
well, we didn't plant that one. That's a what called a Wallamai pine, and the Wallamai pines are an interesting plant. They're a living fossil, and they actually go back to the dinosaur days. So dinosaurs used to eat these plants,
Huh.
and it wasn't until recently everyone thought that they were extinct. They didn't exist, but then somehow one of the fossils grew back, and they found this in a very small area in the Blue Mountains National Park. In fact, not very far from where we're standing now. And the government found it, or someone, a hiker found a little grove of trees, which are the Wallamai pines, and everyone thought they would never there anymore. They only heard about them, so they started to grow again. The government kept it very secure and very secretive as to where it was, so people didn't go and take them. And subsequent to that, they've now grown offshoots off these ones, and now they're growing. I wouldn't say plentifully, but they're growing a lot more than they are. And it's just interesting. The scientists just love these trees because of the age of them. And just think about that a dinosaur could come along and just grab that tree and off you go.
That's amazing. Yeah, that is. That really is. Well, oh my gosh. So, what fun. We've been to 4 very different areas of Australia in a very short period of time. And there are so many other places to go in Australia. We will have to come back and do this again because there are other areas that I just love and would love to highlight. And so we'll do that at some point. We'll
Sure, I'd love
find a
to.
time and talk about it again. And in the meantime, the other thing I wanted to say is that it's really nice, I think, for companies like ours that are very small and family owned to have each other to work with. And I think that our clients benefit from that on both sides because we really get to know them very well. Whereas I mean, no disrespect to anybody, but there's a different, I think, a different feel in working with a small company where you might pick up the phone. You might
Yeah,
call Swain
I
Destinations
do.
and Ian might pick up the phone. And
Yeah.
I normally pick up the phone. So, we're both here to support our clients and prospective clients on a personal level.
We both have such a passion for travel, and I just love making everyone's dreams become reality, because everyone has dreamed about going to Australia or whatever the destination is, and we can actually make them reality.
Yep, exactly. And a lot of times people don't understand that very often we work together, that, I might have clients and I would call you and we'd work together. So I think it's sometimes nice for people to hear
Yeah.
that it's something that we can do and come
Well,
up with some fabulous itineraries and very, very customized to
well,
somebody.
yeah, well, no one can be an expert in every part of the world, and we
Exactly.
need to have experts in areas, and we have our areas of expertise, and you have the expertise in getting clients together, and it's just a matter of working it out. And I mean, we love getting on calls with your clients and just talking to them and just making sure that we're giving them the experience that they're expecting, or actually exceed their expectations for
Yeah.
what they're going to do.
That's always a nice thing. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And I'm gonna take you off screen for a minute while I to say a few parting words, and then we'll
Okay.
chat again
Thanks.
in
Thanks,
a little
Ryan.
bit.
Thanks, viewers.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Okay. Bye. Okay, what fun was that? Oh my gosh, Australia is one of my absolutely most favorite places in the world. And as Ian alluded to, I did live there for a while. And it's always one of my favorite places to go back. And I highly recommend it to anybody that can go and to finding some unique, different things to do there that they're there. There's a lot of opportunities. Before I say goodbye today, I want to let you know I'm going to have a bonus tomorrow at 1 o'clock. This is going to be a makeup session from the week I had my knee operated on and I couldn't pull it together to do my live. So Bonnie Newman from Sea Dream Yacht excuse me, is going to be with me tomorrow, and we've got some really exciting stuff to share with you. So come join us tomorrow at 1 or look for the replay, and I'll see you then.